Beautiful home, beautiful studio, man. I'm excited to finally get to do this with you, man.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, I've been excited. I've actually, like I told you just before we went live, been wanting to get you
Oh, wow.
in the interview since season 1.
We made it happen.
We made it happen.
Yes.
Finally in
All
season
it took
4.
is a pandemic.
Right.
We just needed the
Right.
pandemic. Yeah, exactly.
Right. How was this time with your pandemic? How did that mess any
man.
of your plan? Did it
Yeah,
add to
definitely.
it?
I mean, as artists, it messed up with artist plans and stuff like that. But at the same time, like there's pros and cons. That was the cons, shows, bookings and stuff like that fell through. But the pros in all of it, I guess, is like I've become a lot more DIY, like kind of learned myself on how I've been doing things and how to make it better as well. Because I guess ever since I started doing music, I kind of followed the streamline of like, oh, let's release record, let's do shows, let's make merch, blah, blah, and stuff like that. So not having all of those to fall back on as like my usual routine, I kind of learned marketing, doing my own art, doing my own music videos, video editing and stuff. And these are things that I wouldn't have touched any otherwise, but I'd be paying people to do because I never had the time to do it. But now it's like, oh, okay, I don't have a lot of money because they're losing work. So, but I have this time now. Yeah. So let me learn this, and that. So everything on the new record, on the new album, Star Crusader, by the way.
Crusader. We'll talk some more about it very soon.
Yeah, exactly. Everything on the new album has been a lot of like just DIY stuff, like shot videos by ourselves and stuff, and everything was supposed to be like really high budget 2 or 3 music videos that fell through. It was like, that's okay, let's learn how to do this by ourselves. Let's shoot with our phones and edit ourselves.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do, and like, you know what I mean? It's actually, it's a fun learning experience too.
Yeah,
right.
Nice. So there was a bit of positive from this.
There was some positive. I think that in the end, like whatever we lost during this year, whatever I lost as an artist, I guess, I also gained a lot of skills that I wouldn't have stopped to pick up any other time. So by next year, things are gonna be better. And I also like things that I know that I didn't need as much as an artist. It's like, you never take the time to like, okay, what if I start doing my own artwork? What if I start doing these things? And it's like, okay, it's doable. It's not actually like I didn't pay for any ads this year. Like usually, like I was big on Facebook ads prior, like previous years ago and stuff like that, but my streams has been and everything has been doing better. Like, there's a lot more traffic, and it's not even ads getting random people coming in and stuff like that. So it's just like learning different things on how to like market yourself. Yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna have to get some questions to learn more about this. At least how you're able to get to some of those views without some of the ads.
Sure.
Because a lot of people talk about the need for the ads in the Facebook and the Instagram. And
oh my God,
some
algorithm is messing us up big time. I mean, even just like recently, I don't know if you know about this, there's another update on Instagram, and it like, I'm like, oh, why is my stories cut in half all of a sudden? My story views and everything, and like people see less on the feed now and stuff. It's almost like, Facebook, they're almost Facebooking it and stuff like that. So they're always finding ways to just like, I mean, they're probably
spend more money. And
so that you would have to spend. So your reach is lower if you're like, I don't know if it works for everyone, an artist or like a business or whatever. So you're forced to kind of like spend money on the paid promotional posts and stuff like that. So
it's crazy because you understand that it's their business at the end of the day.
At the end of the day,
and it wouldn't be fair for them or the survival of their business to just give it stuff for free.
Exactly.
So you can target people, you can have 1 million people, but if you can reach those 1 million fans without spending any money, well, what's our purpose? Or how do we make sure that we give you the best product in the future, right? So it's a weird.
Yeah, it's really weird, but I can also see their strategy in it, because the good thing about that is we see less spam. You know what I mean? Fair. So it's like, the people that post like 700 things a day about the same things, we see less of that. We skip less, and it's just better. A better newsfeed, I think, almost. So I think, I don't know how all of it exactly works, but I see it coming from their point of view too. And we as artists, I think artists just have to adapt with technology and how things are working, because if you don't adapt, you kind of, get lost in translation, and then you just kind of, you get the same, you have the same fans.
Right,
You'll never be able to build or whatever, right?
Right.
So I've kind of taken it upon myself, definitely since the pandemic. It's like, okay, I gotta adapt. What are people into? How are people getting music nowadays? And learn as we grow with it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you got us right in there with some interesting stuff. At least when it comes to Facebook, and that's a bit what this is about, to like kind of like help people get some information that they may have not have had in the past.
For sure.
Especially when it comes to Calgary and our dear city that we love so much.
Yes. Shout out to everyone in YYC, man. All the artists.
Shout out to the people in YYC.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool. I know that you, from what I've been seeing, following you, you quite a bit in animes.
Yeah. We've definitely drove that home.
Multiple times.
Since I started the Flotaku series, which I started 4 years ago, 27, well, almost, I guess. It was just something we played around with, or I'm just like, yo, what if I start, putting in my other life passion with my music and kind of drive through and like use anime as like kind of like my inspiration to, and I was still making music the way I used to make music, but it's just like, what if we take some inspiration in that? And ever since I did that, I guess at the time it wasn't so big as it is now. Now it's like bigger now. Like there's a lot of people that are like using anime as like, because anime's become a lot bigger with urban culture. Right. At the time, like it existed, but I didn't see as many people doing it. When I started doing it, that's actually when I started to get more noticed as like a niche. I start getting my more niche audience based on that. But not only the anime part, but it's also the time where I started playing around with other genres. So not only did I mix in the anime with like the hip hop that I've been doing my entire like career, it's like, all right, what if I take like a little bit of my punk rock roots, my jazz roots and stuff like that. That's when I started kind of mixing it, branching out. And that's when I find that it's not only working for me, but it's also the most enjoyable for me.
Nice. You have more fun doing that.
I have so much more fun because it's challenging again, so it keeps me going.
Check out Twizzie discography, like especially from Flotaku to as he goes up, like because the one just before F4 Star had like a lot of jazz stuff influence to it, which was quite amazing. And for me to like, whoa, okay, I did not know actually he had like the jazz influence too, because I was more used to the punk.
Exactly.
And then the hip hop style.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of jazz influence.
Sorry. What would you say is your favorite childhood anime? Do you remember the first one that you was like, man, I like this one when you're a kid?
It's not my favorite, but it's the one that got me into anime, and I think everyone else is Dragon Ball Z, of course.
Okay.
Right? So, of course, that's what got me into it. But as I started to watch more and I started to become like, I'm just this like connoisseur of anime now, and I think I live up to the name that I kind of give myself with like the otaku rapper thing, because I've literally seen like 300 series ever since. So not only do I establish myself as like, okay, I know I mix an anime with like our the beats that we produce and the theme and stuff like that, is like I legitimately know the culture and I jump on that. You know what I mean? A lot of people they want to rap about anime and stuff like that, but they don't know the culture. I actually play at anime conventions and stuff to really drive that home. But like you were asking, it started with Dragon Ball Z, but right now I would say my favorite is something called Hunter x Hunter. Which is on Netflix.
What's Hunter x Hunter about?
It's kind of like the same thing as Dragon Ball, but a little bit more like it's newer. It's a little bit more like sophisticated. Because once you start to watch more, you realize that that as popular as your favorite one is as a child, it's also like kind of the most basic one. It follows all the tropes and rules. It doesn't really break any boundaries at some point. It did in the 90s, and it introduced it to North American audience, which is amazing. But something like Hunter x Hunter,
Hunter x Hunter on Netflix. So make sure to check Hunter x Hunter, and make sure to follow and check some of that to see where we are. Follow some of Twizzie. Hopefully at least it helps us understand a bit some of the references that you have. Like, that.
That's definitely like as much as I do the references and stuff, I also try not to alienate like my hip hop crowd. You know what I mean? Because once I start going so deep on anime references, I also felt like if I went too deep, it will turn off the regular fans.
Right.
That's not into anime. So I try to like keep it so that it's music. At the end of the day, anybody can like it. But if you like anime, then there's another layer to it. But even if you don't, I've never seen anime in your life, it's still like good music at the end of the day. Yeah,
it's great music.
Yeah,
I will have to add great to it because this, like compared to any other artist, like here in Calgary, and I've seen quite a bit. You are one of those very unique artists that really mixing stuff together and genre, which was very actually amazing to me when I check. Preparing for this interview.
Dude, so, amazing. Thank you so much.
Quickly, Twizzie Ramos, where's Twizzies from? Are you from Calgary or did you move from another place to Calgary?
I moved to Calgary. I moved to Canada. When I was 10, I moved to Canada, but I was actually Filipino born, so nice. English is actually...
Shout out to Philippines.
Yeah, English is actually like my third language.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What's the first two?
Well, Tagalog is first. I learned a little bit of this other dialect within Tagalog. It's called Ilocano, which for some reason non-existent. Like I barely remember it now because we never spoke it around the house.
Yeah.
But English was the third language, and I think that's like and I thought for the longest time that was a disadvantage to me, especially becoming a rapper and stuff like that, because you know what I mean. But that actually became an advantage. But I didn't know that till later on in my career, because then it was like, I get hit up by people who are like me at the time, like at ESL their whole life and stuff like that, and but they want to rap, but they're embarrassed because they have an accent and stuff like that, and so it actually like became kind of what people go to me as. It's okay, so if Twizzie can do it, then you know it's very doable.
Shout out to you, Twizzie, for this one, because
much love.
When I went to the US, that's one of the things that prevented me for rapping. Because I used to rap when I was in Ivory Coast.
You went to US first?
Yeah. After Ivory Coast, after high school, I went to US for college. And when I was there, I had like a little group and got more into producing than rapping. Because of the accent. And I didn't want the accent, and I felt like a certain way about my accent with the English. So I just went more into like producing, and eventually I was like, man, I can actually do it the English thing too.
Yeah, dude, your accent would sound really good. Like, and that's so crazy. Like, it works out now. You know what I mean? Right? Yeah.
So looking at your discography, man, shout out to you for the motivation on all the ESL people.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Y'all can rap, and y'all can do it too, man.
Exactly. Yeah, no, there's no boundaries, man. There's no boundaries.
Amazing. Cool. As I was saying at the beginning of the interview, amazing music on the genre bending, punk, pop, disco, rock, rap.
I love how you said disco. That's very, very new, and no one has compared that yet. Yeah, for Star Crusader, there's definitely disco influences too.
Definitely disco.
Yeah.
I can't recall exactly the song, but like I heard that when I was like, okay, he's on whatever is going on right now, because there's a lot of disco music just popping out, like from The Weeknd, Guiding Light, and
The Weeknd is
all of them.
Yeah, synthwave is very big right now. It's starting to get
that
big
would be more the name than disco.
Well, I think synthwave is like what they started calling really 80s, 70s inspired music that's coming into today, like modern. And they're modernizing it, exactly what The Weeknd is doing. So it has that kind of 70s, 80s feel, the pop music, but they modernize it. They have trap, they have 808s, they put some trap beats into it and stuff like that. So so definitely disco inspired,
Nice.
Yeah, and that was big. That Weeknd album was big into writing Star Crusader.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I remember Jean Paliano tell me that, oh man, disco is going to come up pretty soon, and I was like, oh well, yeah. You can say what you gotta say, but then eventually this year I was like, wow, most of all those albums have some disco influences.
Yeah.
Like again and again, from the last Katy Perry.
Oh man,
Miley Cyrus got some disco.
Yeah.
I was like, it is the
really
the
pop
sound
people too. Is like it's coming about, especially the Miley Cyrus one, hella disco. Yeah.
What is going on? So 2020 disco. But back to my question on genre bending. What are Twizzie Ramos' influences? As of artists that really influenced your career?
Oh man, so some of the artists that really influenced my career, and like it's really all over the place as well. So one of the ones I would say at the very beginning is Corey Taylor from Slipknot. Okay. So I listened to a lot of metal, and just the way that they handled themselves on stage, off stage, and stuff like that. Yeah. Linkin Park, definitely in the beginning. Like Chester Bennington was big on me wanting to scream and sing. Yeah. That I didn't really tackle till later on. hip hop wise, I find that it's always changing. So recently, that's an interesting question because I haven't had a chance to say this to anyone else really. But recently, I saw a 2015 profile of me, a bio, and it says for fans of Tech Nine, Logic, and Eminem, and I was like, that does not sound like me at all. I'm like, that is, I wrote that. So, you know what I mean? So like that's so. What is my influence as of today? If I was to say, so I was like thinking about it. And I was like, okay, my influence today. If I was to compare my music, would be Tyler the Creator,
nice.
Denzel Curry,
nice.
Danny Brown, and Lupe Fiasco. I think, and those are like, thank you. Those are like artists that's kind of like so far apart from each other, but I think it makes
very
sense.
Unique in their creativity.
They're so unique. You're all of them.
Beat selection to like
from
what they talk about.
Their flow too, and everything. And I think, but all those four, I think, is like what I listen to get like my inspiration and my style wise as a rapper today, like excluding like, you know, my rock influences and like my jazz influences. I have influences like Frank Sinatra and all that. So kind of borrowing from each genre, and I think is what makes me sound different. So that's definitely what became a mixed bag too, like what I have right now.
Right. Hey, when I started, I say unique. You guys understand a little why he's so unique, especially in Calgary. So check out Twizzie Ramos on your favorite streaming platform, and get back to me on the comments and all that. Let me know if you were wrong on that one, because this, you know, Frank Sinatra to some Skipnack to some. Let me tell you, homie is the ish. What would you say is Twizzie creative routine? Because you did tell me that you do watch a lot of anime, and in the world where there's so much distraction, I'm quite interested in how you're able to balance all those, from watching anime on Netflix to writing about the anime to find a song to like do an album and do the video. What would be the creative routine?
Man, I would say like I don't force anything. I really go about with what's happening in my life. Like, I never tried to sound like... I don't even know what Twizzie Ramos sounds like. Like, if I was to describe it myself, I can't really, like... I don't know, because I feel like, what year? You know what I mean? What date? Like, it changes every time. And for some reason, ever since I started the Flotaku series back in 2017, there's been an anime that I would watch that same year that would just spark creativity. And it, also, the mood would match the genre that I'm trying to do. So every time, so when I released the 2017 one, which is the original Flotaku, I was in like depression, and I felt like alone and stuff like that. And I watched Death Note, and I was getting, that's a really dark anime.
Okay. And
it was in line with me being depressed and getting back into my metal roots. So that's when I mixed the bag. And then the second one is an anime called Cowboy Bebop, which is like futuristic jazz. And for some reason, it connected with what I was going through in life. I was becoming a little bit happier, and I was getting back to relearning jazz and singing again. So everything has been like following up. And then the most recent album, Star Crusader, I was like late last year, for some reason, I started getting into like 80s music, and I was listening to... I was only listening to like Michael Jackson and like the David Bowies and stuff, and like I was listening to 80s, and then I watched an anime that's set in the 80s, and it like everything matched up, and it became Star Crusader, which is all like references within that anime. And so for some reason, it's not even about like I watch an anime and I'm like, oh, I want to make some music based on that. Something will just connect with my life and what I'm going through, and it will just be like, okay, this is the theme that we're using. So that's why I guess I've always been stuck with like, I'm old school with like albums. And everyone's like, yo, just do singles, man, just do singles there and then. But I'm so into, it's all about the single era that's popping, right? That's how you get like the Spotify streams and stuff. But I just always been like, I always like to create a body of work. I like a theme. And I wanna present myself as each Flotaku is a different feeling, not just to the sound, but me as a person, like how I would dye my hair, how I would dress, how would I present on stage and stuff. So I feel like each one is a different era in its own. And it's actually worked out because it's made me play several different types of gigs. So for example, I could play a big festival with like moshing fans one night, but I could also play a cafe the other night, because what do you want? Do you want Flotaku 3 or do you want Flotaku 4? Right. Then I could always just change my persona into that persona. Oh, you guys want pop shit tonight? I'm Star Crusader tonight. Right. You know, so you want jazz tonight? I'm Space Cowboy tonight. You're right. So that's thank you. So I guess that's where it's become more versatile within that strategy.
Nice. Nice. Cool. So if you're joining us, we're meeting with the one and only Twizzie Ramos. Man, killing it in this interview. So I'm going to get into that latest album that you released, Star Crusader.
I'm excited.
Star Crusader. Like it a lot. If you can take us a bit, because you say like you were into the like more 80s and that was like the influence of it. Take us to like the setting of you just deciding to jump in with this project.
Right, okay.
And like how did the name come up to you and how you was like, okay, I'm going with this and here's what I'm going to do to get this to completion.
All right. A bit, please. So the 80s influence, I was just listening to 80s a lot, but I'm also saying to myself, okay, but this is impossible. I'm a rapper. There's no way I'm going to just make an album and just sing. You know what I mean? No one's going to like that shit. It's going to be weird. I could barely sing and stuff like that. Like I want to, but, and then I went to go see Igor, Tyler the Creator, live in Toronto. And I don't know if you've heard that album or like seen
just a
Tyler
few parts, but not the whole thing.
Not the whole thing?
Yeah, but I heard it's a very, very important album.
And actually. It is a very important album because it's so different from his style, his growth, and he took on a persona, this Igor persona. That's why he wore the wig and the suit and stuff like that. Okay. So he wasn't even Tyler the Creator at the time. He was just Igor. And that album is very 80s inspired. So everything was just connected.
Singing in there.
Right, and then he sang a lot more. It was more production based, where it wasn't so focused on like the vocal performance exactly as much as like previous albums, but it's all about like adding instruments. How do we make the best produced album as much as possible? And watching it live and be like, yo, bro, if he's doing this and he's challenging himself, there has to be a way where I can do this.
Especially with his deep voice.
Yeah, with his deep voice and stuff, and then he's hitting high-pitched voice on like Earthquake and stuff. And I'm like, okay, so there has to be a way. Earthquake. Yeah, exactly. See, this guy knows. Man, know what's up. Yeah, man, know what's up. But I think that was the turning point to where it made me realize, okay, I think this would be the most kind of 180 if I did this right after a heavy trap and jazz album, which was Sunflower Samurai. This would be the most 180. And I love doing the 180 because when people expect Twizzie to be one thing, I like to do the opposite thing, right? To keep them guessing.
Yeah. And that'll give you longevity as an artist.
Longevity, because exactly. That's one thing I learned from Rest in Peace X. But one thing I learned from him in one of my favorite interviews is like, to have longevity is like, never make your audience come. You have to always make them think they're close to climaxing, but then when they're about to, pull it out, do something else. So it's like
dirty reference, but that makes a lot of sense.
So ever since I heard that, it's just like that makes so much sense, because then if you always give them what they want, they're gonna eventually want something else from something. But if there's always something like, oh, I wonder what the next Twizzie's gonna be like. Oh, I really like this one. I wonder if he'll do it again. But then he doesn't. But then they'll be like, okay, say they don't like what I did with Star Crusader. There's always that chance I might go back to the Flotaku 3 sound. Right, so they'll be like, oh, I wonder if his next one has some scream vocals in it again and stuff like that. So I feel like, keep them guessing, and that's the longevity of it. But not only because you're keeping your audience guessing, it's also a longevity for me because I'm keeping myself guessing. Right? I'm always challenging myself. Like, I'm not doing the regular format within each songwriting sessions, each studio sessions. We're just doing the routine of like, let me write the verse. Oh, let's get someone else to sing on the hook. You know, I've always switched it up. And I guess back to your question, the big influence also doing Star Crusader was not only the anime, which is called JoJo's Bizarre Adventure anyways, it was really working with Rome and him deciding to take me.
Shout out to Rome.
So shout out to Rome.
One of the best in Calgary.
Exactly. Like so many things, not just like
so many things.
Not just being as a recording artist himself, but like as an engineer So him.
He was quickly actually the first interview on YYYC, episode 1, season 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Rome was.
Oh, that's crazy. I gotta rewatch
for
that.
that particular reason. The fact that he can do multiple
just so
things.
versatile, right?
So versatile.
Yeah, so out the box too. So I gotta rewatch that. But him too was like him taking me on, and I told him I remember this conversation I had with him. I think it was December or January this year, and I was just like joking about it, kind of like not really serious, but like, hey Rome, I decided I don't want to record this album by myself. I'm gonna record it with you because I'm gonna do singing. I'm just gonna sing. And then he's like, that could work. We can try that. Who's like, so yeah. He's like, that could be really interesting for me too as an engineer. Like, so I was like, okay, this now that he took it, then I'm like, okay, here's someone I gotta work with. We gotta make this happen. And I'm so glad because like I think I wouldn't have tackled like this, like learning melodies and singing and like doing different strategy within music making as much as I did, especially incorporating live instrumentals and stuff like that. It's things that I've not been there to do. Now that I have someone that would help me out on that, I went all out on it. So it's been really, really fun.
Amazing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of instrumentation on that album.
Hell yes.
A lot of instrumentation. You might give us a few name of the people who worked on it?
Hell yeah. Timothonius from Haven YYC,
Yeah.
Keith Mueller from Natural 20 Eye of the Mountain.
What did they work on? Like the trumpet?
He did sax and trumpet. We had Jason, who did the guitar solos, like The Fool, which is one of my favorite solos. I think I'm gonna do guitar solos every song now. I think like when I look back in that song, I'm like, what rap song has guitar solos after like a chorus? Like it doesn't happen as much, but I feel like that guitar solo is so key, and like having sax solos is like, I don't know how to go back without having those like instrumentation solos.
Like the feeling that he adds, like real music, there's really
exactly. Just the feels on that, and yeah, man, just like shout out to Rome and Jay Zen too. Jay Zen and Rome, they both sampled the anime soundtrack, so I gave them the full soundtrack, and they were able to just chop it up. And then it was really cool working with them because how people would just like chop up beats and here's a hip hop beat, like I flipped it for you and stuff like that. Yeah. I told them straight up like, I want you to make it challenging for me. Don't even think about me that I'm gonna hop on this beat. I want you to make the sample and the beat so you, and then I'll figure out a way to jump on it. And Jay Zen went crazy on it. We made this song called Star Platinum, and it was like the craziest song I've ever jumped on because we don't know what it is. It's drum and bass, it's hip hop, it's like metal. We don't dubstep. We don't know what it is, but Jay just made it, and it's a very Jay Zen song, and I figured it out, and it was hard, but I think jumping on beats that you don't know how to jump on helps you grow. I always say this. Exactly. I always say that between like jumping on beats that you already know. I'm like, oh, that's so my beat. And then it's easy to jump on because you already know how you're going to flow to it. I'd be the opposite where I'd like to jump on beats where I have no idea. Am I going to sing on this? Am I going to rap on this? How do I flow on it? Yeah, so those are my favorite type beats. So we did a lot of that for this album.
Nice. Shout out to Jason, man, for killing it on that one too. Yes. And Rome. Cool. Alrighty, before we jump into the bus question, which is going to be very, very soon here.
I'm so excited.
Don't want to take too much of our fam times here, keeping it under the few 30 minutes or just a little more. Sure. Your latest video, single that came out, and maybe you can help us a bit with the names, like what?
Hierophant Green.
Yeah,
featuring Kata Chosen.
With the one and only Kata Chosen, which you guys can see right at the top there.
That was a fun video to shoot. It was a fun song itself.
So how did that one come about?
Hierophant Green. Okay, so I guess I'm going to talk about Kata Chosen for once, why I had him in the song. He was the other guy that was with me at the Igor concert. So we and him flew to Toronto. And at the same time...
Shout out to Kata Chosen.
He was working on a project called Jauska. So we actually like talked about it. We were so inspired. We're like, yo, this is my plans for next year. What if we did this? And he told me everything that Jauska was going to be. And I told him everything that Star Crusader was going to be. And it was just, I'm like, I have to have you in this project because I feel like this is, we were like on the same path. You know what I mean? So I had it on the path. And then we did this event called Josuke versus Jouska at Courtyard.
You guys are so hilarious.
So we did like training videos and shit like that. Yeah, shout out to Kata Chosen. He's been pushing me to do like more like entertaining skits and TikToks and IG reels and stuff like that. He's been on that,
very good,
and I'm like taking lessons from him too. So we did that event, and we were like very competitive with like how we showcase. And then Rome approached us, and he says, "Yo, what if we continue this whole like kind of comedic like alpha male like." Always competing with everything thing, but then we just do it as a music video for Hierophant Green, which he produced, by the way.
Shout out to Rome again.
Yeah, Rome produced this beat. So then he's like, "Yeah," I'm like, "What are we gonna use?" I'm like, "Oh, just use my phone." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Well,
so that was done with the phone.
This was done on Rome's phone. I forgot what the Pro is, 1.7 or something. But this whole thing was entirely done with him going like this on his phone.
This is
and just picking up angles and editing, and he did all the editing.
Okay.
And it's nuts. So yeah, that's so in the video, we're just at Rec Room competing on everything, and we were actually competing. Like we weren't just acting. We were actually putting tokens or whatever the scan wristband is, and we were actually playing DDR legit. We were playing ice hockey, and then Rome just like filmed it and shit.
How did you guys get the Rec Room? Like, is it a matter of just like hit him up?
We didn't hit up nobody. It was COVID. Nobody was going in the Rec Room. So we came. There's like 4 people in the whole building. We're like, this is the perfect time to shoot the video.
Because I saw like I watched the video and I was like, wow, like the place is kind of like empty.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just us there,
spot?
right? Yeah. Otherwise, it'd be so hard to film a video there because there'd be like rights, like, oh, I don't want my face in this video. Right. So it was so easy to just like not get in trouble, and we didn't even ask for permission. We just shot it out there, and it was just like a double date night with our girls too. Shout out to Tola and Scarlett. Shout out to our ladies.
Holding them down.
Exactly, holding us down. So it was just a date night / hangout. We just went floating and we just shot it. So one of the funniest videos we've ever shot. Amazing. So yeah, it's Hierophant Green.
Check it out now on YouTube and also on YYC Records. That's CA. Cool. Are we gonna jump onto our buzz question?
All right, I'm excited.
I have much more questions, but let's go on the buzz question.
Yes, I'm buzz. Look at this. Look at this. Just been eating candies, man.
Been eating the kid. So buzz question started out with buzz 403. Shout out to the one and only Sheena that I miss dearly.
Hey.
I told her I'll keep stuff going for her. So here we are with Twizzie Ramos and the buzz question. Now you ready, sir?
I'm ready.
Twizzie Ramos, favorite food?
Sushi.
Cool. If you go to the bar, what's the first drink you order?
Whiskey, just whiskey.
Just raw?
Yeah, just whiskey, bro.
On ice. On ice. Damn. Yeah. Okay, favorite spot in Calgary?
Spot, like music-wise, or?
No, it doesn't have to be music-wise. No. Like
my home. Because my home has everything that I go out to do, all in one. Yeah.
Okay, home. I'm the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Love my home. C-Train or Uber?
Uber.
Uber. Okay, Tupac or Biggie?
Tupac.
Okay. Okay. If you could feature anyone on your next track, your money's not a problem.
Money's not a problem?
Who would that be?
So I'm just gonna come off the top because I've been listening to him recently a lot more. Marilyn Manson. Yeah, just listen to that album on the way here. So I'm just gonna come off the top. But there's so many. But that would be messed up good. I think.
Marilyn Manson, Twizzie Ramos. If you still make some music, please tag Marilyn Manson on this interview so we can get maybe a feature in Calgary. That would be amazing. If you get anybody to produce your next album, money is not an issue, who would that be?
Trent Reznor from 9 Inch Nails.
Man, okay. Stay in your line. Master.
Master producer. Oh my god. And that's because there's a lot of good hip hop producers, Swiss Beats and stuff like that, like Tyler the Creator, that I would love to work with. But because Trent Reznor, 9 Inch Nails, would produce something, like I said, that I would have no idea what to do with. So I feel like it'll shape me as an artist further. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Well, that was it for our buzz question.
Ooh, nice. That's fun.
Quick and easy.
Oh man, that got me sweating. Those were good.
Thank you. Okay, we're very close to the end of our interview here.
Hey.
We'll hit you up with our last question. Just one more at the end, but like truly the last one. The reason of our show, why YYC? Why do you think people should pay attention to the music been made here in Calgary? If not, what's missing to our scene for people to pay attention to Calgary?
I think YYC, because I think our hip hop scene is still pure. Pure in a sense that it's not overly saturated yet. You know what I mean? So you go to other cities, there's just, and this is not a bad thing, but there's so much competition that you're just like a needle in a haystack, you know what I mean? No matter what, like there's so much competition. And in here, you can literally make a name for yourself. It's I wouldn't say it's like easy, but it's definitely easier because people are more supportive, because we're all trying to build the city to get more noticed together. So the competition isn't as high to like, oh, I'm gonna be better, I'm gonna be more well known than this artist. And we're all kind of still trying to help each other like notice YYC and stuff. So I always get happy when people like Cartel Madras and stuff like that would like get noticed. Even like the like Harm Franklin's Curtis Waters, you know what I mean? Like things like that. Like man, like I get happy. I'm definitely like, oh, okay, proud of YYC artists and stuff like that, right? That come from here. So I think we're still trying to build up our scene, that it's still kind of homegrown, it's not overly saturated, we're supportive of each other and stuff like that, and there's a lot of freaking talent here, so much talent. God, like you wouldn't know. And I talk to people daily that'd be like, oh, there's nothing going on in YYC, oh, there's not much, you'd have to move to Toronto or something like that. But bro, do you go out though? Like this is what I always say, like have you gone out to shows? Like have you been to 110 at 10 where you will see 10 acts? Like, you know what I mean? Like I will bring you to places where you will see acts. What genre are you into? I got you. There's any type of music that you want, whether it be electronic DJs to like not even like folk music to like hip hop. There is things happening before COVID. There's
don't go out right now.
Exactly. There is things happening in Calgary for that genre, and we have kind of the niche genre starting to be a little bit more open now. But I also
to that real quick then. So what's missing? Because this is the first time that at least in this interview, people talked about the amount of music and possibility to discover music that there is in Calgary. So what is missing for us to be on the front stage then of the music industry?
I feel like
we have so
yes, we can get more of the attention of like outside, like, you know, around Canada and stuff. But I think what is missing, in my opinion, is our own sound. What is the Calgary sound? Because you hear Toronto and you would know it's coming from hip hop, coming from the six and stuff. Even Vancouver has this like Western Canada, like Snack the Ripper, Mercury, it's like type sound, you know what I mean? But what is Calgary's sound? We haven't really found like, you know, if somebody was to hear a song, it's like, that sounds so 403. There's no such thing yet, you know what I mean? There's only artists saying 403 Calgary YYC's on the raps, but we haven't found our own like kind of style of hip hop, at least, I think.
So a bit more digging on that. Then
so there's definitely a lot of people that are really unique and stuff, and that are like cultivating the culture and going boundaries and stuff, like going outside the boundaries to make like their hip hop more unique, right? But there hasn't been the established like, this is such a cultured sound that can only happen in Calgary. You know what I mean? So like the reason why a Toronto sound is because Drake is so big, and like even like just the culture of like it being in Toronto is exactly like you feel that in the music, right? We don't have that yet, I think. And I think, or maybe I just don't know and I'm out of touch with Calgary's hip hop or whatnot.
I don't know
but
about
I think,
that. But
well, you're not sure as well, eh?
No, it's a sound, and I had that discussion before, and I said like in a previous interview that someone was saying, well, no, we shouldn't have a sound per se because everybody is unique, and I was like, well, in New York, people were all unique, but there was a New York sound.
Yeah, you would know if it's East Coast between West Coast hip hop. You would know between East Coast and West Coast beat, right?
That you need.
Yeah, exactly. Because
identity.
Because identity, exactly. Because when you have an identity or a sound, it can't be bad because especially nowadays with Spotify playlists and stuff, you hear this one sound and it's called, let's make up a genre name. Let's say it's a YYC genre name that they call it, right?
Yeah.
You know how like what's that thing that popularized from the UK?
Grime,
right?
drill?
So something like that, like grime, right? Let's say there's a certain genre name that specifies Calgary culture and sound, right? When they hear that one song, let's say it comes from like a Twizzie Ramos, like myself. It's like, oh, I really like this Twizzie Ramos guy. He has this, what genre is that like? Oh, this is that YYC sound. What's a YYC sound? All of a sudden, there's a playlist of YYC artists that identifies with that sound. So they discover so much more. And they're like, oh, I love the sound of Calgary. I'd love to like go to Calgary and see a festival within this sound. Right? So while it's good that we kind of have subgenres, when we have an identity of a sound, and we don't have to be boxed in and that's all we're gonna sound like. But when we find that, I just think it'll be easier for other people outside of Calgary, outside of Alberta, in the States to recognize us and be like, oh, that's such a YYC sound.
Right.
You know what I mean? I want that to be a term one day.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
I can't wait. It'll
sound.
happen. It'll happen. I think we have enough talent and creativity in this city.
It's a matter of time.
It's a matter of time. When it happens, it happens.
It's a matter of time.
Right. It's not something you can force, man. It's all culture. Yeah.
So the YYC sound, if you guys have a name that you want to use or you think that we can use as of grime, trap or whatever, drop that in the comments so that becomes the name of the YYC sound.
Yeah,
we all work to develop.
Oh, I can't wait to hear what that name would be called exactly.
Should do a little challenge with this. That'll be fun.
Oh, that'd be a fun challenge. Yeah.
Coming up on YYC Records. But yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the one and only Twizzie Ramos, man. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, dude. Always. Thank you for having me. Yeah. Much love to everyone, man. Much love to everyone tuning in.
Answering YYYC. Before you let everybody know, is there anything you want to leave our guests with? Where to follow? Stuff to listen to? And if I may ask a little freestyle or, rap your favorite bars. You don't have to.
Ooh.
But
okay.
Hit us before we let our guys go.
All right. Well, my name is Twizzie Ramos. That's TWIZZIE Ramos. I'm on Instagram as that. I'm on Spotify and all that. Yeah, man. Like I make a lot of memes on Instagram and stuff.
Entertaining.
I just try to be an entertainer. Aside from music, if you're not into just the music itself, I just try to do all sorts of other things. So, man, just hit me up and. Yeah, thank you for YYC Records for having me. I guess think I'll do a little acapella.
Yeah.
I guess.
What's up?
Didn't prepare myself for this, but haven't left my house in like 7 days. Cooped up watching anime, blasting 7As in the 80s era, dreaming of becoming a pop star. So fuck a gun bar. It's that dream though. First time that I get to turn off my alarm clock. All the doors shut and the car stops. What? I'm used to living in my head. Car 13, think you're dripping by your dead. Always have a dose of people talking shit. I'm used to those, they be ominous. I ain't gonna pose when you can handle it. I've been through the most, ain't no masking it. I learned to survive through the sickest. Mamba mentality, that's venom in my instincts. Are you getting this? All I'm saying is you bitches got no chance trying to duplicate my business. Yo, that's Hermit Purple off the first track of the new album.
Yeah, check it out. Available on Spotify and your favorite streaming services.
Hey,
thank you so much,
Thanks
man.
so much, yo.
I
Much
appreciate
love.
that. Ladies and gentlemen, that was YYYC Season 4, Episode 3 with the one and only Twizzie Ramos. Check us out on YYCRecords.ca for more. Follow us on IG at YYC Records for the hottest hip-hop and alternative music made in Calgary. And I'll chat to you guys very, very, very soon. Much love. Take care. Stay safe. Hey, getting better at that marketing thing, eh? Said it all. So, hope you've enjoyed this interview. Enjoy the beat. Season 4, Episode 3 with the one and only Twizzie Ramos. Much love. Talk to you guys very soon. Stay safe.